Okay, after a momentary interruption, we are back. Next thing we want to talk about the retirement of Vinny LeCavier.
Yeah.
One great player, just absolutely, just a phenomenal player. Finally, at the end of his career, I want to get your thoughts.
I mean, he was a great class act player. I mean, he won a cup, with Tampa Bay.
2004.
He played for Tampa Bay, Flyers, and the Kings. I think he's going out on a good note, and don't be surprised to see him in either coaching or office of either Flyers or the Lightning. I see him being part of one of those two organizations.
Yeah, I mean he, and I heard that Vinny LeCavier was going to the Philadelphia Flyers. It was absolutely tremendous. I was very happy about it just to see what he could do, and I know he's got a lot of flash and flair to him because of the fact of the Cup win and for Tampa Bay. Not much of a story with him when he was with the Kings, but when he was with Tampa Bay, I mean he was
for the Flyers. For trading him was pretty much to clear up cap space. He wanted to stay with Philly. I read an article where he said he wanted to stay with Philadelphia, but they had to do what they had to do, and they wanted to move cap space because he wasn't, this past season he wasn't living up to his contract hype. But it's also because you get up to a certain age. Unless you're Yager.
Yeah. I swear, Yager must drink the blood of virgins.
Yeah.
Because man, he still can go at his age, and being from team to team to team to team to team, he's never talked about retirement. He may have had some run-ins with a couple of kid players, and they were like, "Oh, you're old and stuff," and whatever. Yami Yager, it doesn't matter what team he's part of, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, he at Florida, he is a great player. But like I said, Vinny LeCavier, I hope he, whatever he wants to do.
He's definitely a future Hall of Famer.
Definitely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I'd love to see him in an office spot with Philadelphia to see where, if they can get rid of all those idiots and morons that are in the office. And, also, speaking of Philadelphia, I wanted to mention also, since we're off the Vinny LeCavier thing, I wanted to mention, the passing of Ed Snyder. Definitely a legend in this business. A man who took on the Russians and won. Montreal really can't say that. 3-3 tie, but okay, it's back in the 70s. But, a man that fought tooth and nail to get a team to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with your Capitals. How they fought, bite kicked and scratched to keep the Capitals in Washington.
Yeah.
And they were planning on moving them. But the fan base for Philadelphia and Washington, honestly, heart to heart, is a real big fan base. And
I love our fans. I love the Capital fans.
Capital fans are a very strong group. But for the fact that Philadelphia lost the man that started it all. My hat's off to you. Hopefully they get it, they get their act together, because like I said, losing an owner is and the one and only owner,
Right.
It wasn't like 16 different owners of the Philadelphia Flyers. It was just this one guy since '67, and that's a big deal. GMs come and go, presidents come and go. But, it seemed like Ed Snyder was always that one rock that always stayed with Philadelphia. Yeah. So, like I said, hopefully he's in a better place. And okay, so after all of that, we'll go into the lottery for the NHL draft. We'll go into the West Side. We'll go with Colorado, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Arizona. Was it Edmonton? And I believe I can't remember. I can't see the other team, but on the western side, who do you think has got more of a chance to get that top spot? Edmonton. Yeah.
Edmonton. For the as far as West guys, if anyone's going to get the top spot, it's going to be Edmonton. Vancouver is going to be probably up there in the top 5, possibly Calgary, but
Oh, and Calgary was the other team.
Yeah.
I had to grab the stat here. Yeah. So Edmonton. Yeah, well, I mean, one of the bottom barrel teams, as I like to call them. I mean, Edmonton hasn't done jack squat in a long time with anybody.
I mean, if I had to pick a West Coast team, it would be Edmonton. But I mean, if you look at their past with their first round draft picks in the past 8 or 9 years of having the first round pick, most of them. I mean,
not worked out or traded away.
I mean, hopefully, last year they got Connor McDavid. I mean, Connor McDavid is going to be the new captain of the Edmonton Oilers at the start of next season, guaranteed. Connor McDavid, he's going to be he's there Ovechkin, he's there Crosby. I mean, he's their new Gretzky. They're going to build the team around him. I know Nail Yakupov, who they got in the first round too with the first pick a few years back, is actually asking for a trade.
You just don't want to stick with a losing entity, and I mean it pretty much brings up what with being with the Flyers as well. But you talk about the Eric Lindros situation where he didn't want to go to Quebec when he was drafted by them. And you turn around, and all of a sudden you got to deal with New York and Philadelphia trading for him at the same time.
Well, who do you think? What is it? Austin Matthews, who they're saying is supposed to be the first to go first overall. From what I've heard, he doesn't want to go to a Canadian team.
Wow, he must really hate Canadians. That means I don't like him.
I mean, he is a USA-born player, so yeah. So I mean,
Well, I mean, some teams just don't want to go some areas, and or either they don't want to go to some areas, like you were saying before about not wanting to go to a Canadian team, being United States born, but then you got for the fact that some players would be like, I really I don't want to be drafted by them. They'll look and they'll go, oh man, the Edmonton Oilers drafted me. I don't want to play for Edmonton, or I don't want to play for Los Angeles because why would I want to devote my skills to them? And all of a sudden, like you were saying before, wanted to be traded away or asking for a trade, and the best thing you're probably going to do is send him down to the minors.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to go into the eastern side. We'll go with Boston, Carolina, Ottawa, New Jersey, Montreal, Buffalo, Columbus, and Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto and Buffalo are Toronto. If it's going to be between two teams for the first pick, it's going to be between Toronto and Edmonton. Those are the top two teams that have.
You don't think Buffalo is going to get that top spot again?
No.
I mean, literally, they were at the bottom, league-wise.
I mean, league-wise, they've been at the bottom, but they still haven't gotten that first pick. I mean, last year they had the second pick, and the year before that, they have the third pick, I think. So, I mean, Buffalo, I see them being at three again. It's going to be between Toronto or Edmonton for that first pick.
Okay, so if you're going with Toronto and Edmonton, what do you think Edmonton needs in the draft? What do you think Edmonton should get in the draft?
What do I think they need, or what do I think they're going to draft?
All right, we'll go with both. We'll go with both.
They need defense. They need goaltending, and they're going to draft a forward. I mean, plain and simple, it's what they always do.
What they always do.
I mean, Toronto needs everything.
Toronto, yeah.
They should have had their AHL team.
Matt was mentioning in the first episode how they needed to get their AHL team to play for them. I mean, it's pretty much like the replacements with Keanu Reeves. Just get rid of them all, throw them on a bus, take them to Bahamas or something, and then replace them with the AHL team.
They re-signed, Morgan Riley and Kadri to 6-year extensions, which I guess is good for them, but everyone else they need to get rid of. I mean, Morgan Riley, they need to keep him on defense, but they just need to get rid of everyone else. And I see him doing that. So I'd say between them two.
Which team would you, out of the western end, like I said, Colorado, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Arizona, Carolina, or Calgary, Edmonton, who do you think would be you would be surprised to see get a top spot? Just up there, they got a spot. They got that spot because draft picks get traded around like water.
Vancouver, but again, like I said,
who would want to go to the damn Canucks? I mean, good Lord.
Edmonton, honestly, Edmonton and Toronto have the highest chances right now.
I'd rather go to Buffalo than go to them.
I'd love to go to Buffalo. I'd love to go.
All right, so next on the list, we're going to talk. Like I said, Goon TV, one of the main big things about this show, fighting. big time fighting. We go with the only fight that we've seen so far because the playoffs really don't produce a lot of fights. People are it's all about the goals.
And as far as first round goes, we talked more about most of the fights of the first round in the first episode.
Yeah, Braden Shen and TJ Oshie, Philadelphia versus Washington. Now we've watched this fight, Matt.
All right, let's get into the reason why it happened. All right, the reason why it happened is it happened in Game 5. In Game 4, Braden Shen delivered a dirty cross check to Kuznetsov's knees. All right, could have seriously.
Did they say anything about Kuznetsov?
Yeah, I mean he was fine. He was fine. Could have injured him. Could have seriously injured him. People were bitching about how Barry Trotz was sending video footage to the NHL department. It was a dirty hit. Braden Shen is a dirty player. All right, I fucking hate him. I will always hate him. He's a dirty player. He's a dirty fucking player. Then we get into the fight. You see right off the bat they're talking. Oshie's saying, first off, he already said the reason why he got in the fight, he was the first one out there on the ice to be against him. If it was anyone else, anyone would have gone to that fight. Oshie was out there. He was going to do the honors. Shen got most hits in. He was just swinging crazy. Oshie got in more powerful hits. I'll say he got in more.
It seemed
hits.
like when we were watching the footage that it was just a whirlwind. I mean,
Yeah.
they were just throwing him. But you could tell from seeing the footage, and you see Shen argue, and then you see Oshie just look at him and just pretty much go, "All right, you want to go? Okay, let's go." And then before you know it, the puck got dropped, the whistle got blown, and then
10 seconds into the first period.
I mean, Shen, and Luke and Braden Shen. I mean, those two are just they are grinders, man. They'll throw down if you just go, hey, I hate you. I don't like the way you play. Really? Bloop, the gloves go down. Fights, and Oshie put up a fight. Braden Shen, as much as everybody tries to have the upper hand on him and everybody wants to see him get his head beat in, I mean, pretty much Oshie put up a hell of a fight, and it was really good. I loved it. And then they just got separated, and then fans went ballistic about Oshie. I mean, chanted his name, and it was fantastic.
Good job, Oshie. Very good job, Oshie. Way to stick up for your team.
All right, last segment of the show, we're going to talk about rivalries. Because a lot of these teams that are playing in the playoffs are all about rivals. We've seen it happen dozens of times. And we'll talk about my favorite rivalries with Montreal, and he'll talk about his favorite rivalries with Washington. Now, with me, everybody thinks, Boston, Montreal. But it's a standard practice for any Montrealer to hate Boston. It's happened ever since the league began, back in the day before, your granddad's granddad was born. So it's a natural thing to hate Boston. But I'd have to say my favorite rivalry has to be Montreal and the Rangers. Those two teams, when it's always the red, white, and blue versus the blue, blanc, rouge, they go down, they throw down, and I'm telling you that one playoff where Chris Kreider, where you have your you hate certain players. I hate Chris Kreider for jamming his skates into Carey Price's knees and taking him out, and then they have to put Dustin Tokarski in, and it's I know that was a joke. I mean, I happen to like Dustin Tokarski, but he was not anywhere, shape, or form, especially because it was the Eastern Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals, not the semifinals, not the quarterfinals, the finals. And then they have to put up a backup goalie. Now, Budai was nowhere close by, but anyway, that games were just so brutal, and I loved every minute of it. And New York did prevail. But, that cheating son of a bitch had to, do that to Carey Price because there was no way they were going to get past Carey Price. But so, yeah, my favorite rivalry, like I said, everybody loves Boston, but my favorite rivalry is always Montreal Canadiens, New York Rangers. Matt?
Well, you talk a lot about how playoffs create rivalries, and playoffs definitely create a lot of rivalries. And, I love always watching, what happens with the Capitals in playoffs. You see now how intense things are after the Capitals took out the Bruins in the playoffs. After all these playoff segments
Good.
Between the Rangers and the Caps, I mean, they always put on a good match. Caps and Flyers, since the 90s, I'm gonna go with the one that a lot of people are gonna choose, just because it's the era for it. Caps and Pens. Caps and Pens, and I guess it's because my family thrives off that rivalry. My wife and one of my daughters is a Pens fan.
Yeah, I was talking with them, and then she was like, "My favorite team's Pittsburgh," and then I talked to his other daughter, "My favorite team's the Capitals." I'm like, "Man, this house is split."
So,
but then it goes down to your son, and your son wears Washington's other house.
He's a Kings fan.
He's a King.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Jackson's a Kings fan.
No, that's horrible.
You should have seen the look on his face when I told him the Kings were eliminated from the playoffs. It's the saddest thing ever. I have to get a picture of it.
Jackson, yeah, man, that kid is so fantastic. I love his son. I mean, he's so wonderful, and I Matt, it's funny how you take his son has a rare spine disorder, and he takes him to Philadelphia because of the doctors over there and help him out, which is fantastic. And it's so funny how you were telling me before off camera about how you go to Philadelphia and you have to hide everything because you hide your because he's got tattoos, man. I mean, I could take this off.
We go to Philadelphia for the last 2 weeks in June, and I'm really gonna have to wear long sleeves and not a lot of red. But then again, I'll probably still wear all the red and whatnot, and just.
Hey, believe me, I lived in Chicago, and they always say don't go to the South Side wearing Chicago Cubs gear. I did it just to piss people off, even though I love the White Sox. I really don't care. But honestly, Philadelphia, they look like they would beat your face in just for it's just for wearing the opposite team.
It's gonna be brutal.
I can't imagine what like I said, we were talking about rivalries at Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. That would have been a really good series to go to. But
that would have been a good series. But I mean, Pittsburgh.
But seeing Pittsburgh and Caps who just royally hate each other.
It's going to go to Game 7. I mean, you look at the era of the top two players that's been for the past 10 years: Crosby and Ovechkin. And let's take the last time Pittsburgh and Capitals played each other in the playoffs. Pittsburgh went and won the Stanley Cup that year. This time, history is going to change, and it's going to be the Capitals are going to go and win the cup. You see how much these teams stick by their star players, stick by their captains.
And then nobody wants to mention 2010 when the Montreal Canadiens eliminated Washington Capitals from the playoffs.
Or how about then the second round? How about the second? Then talk about the second round. How y'all eliminated the Penguins too.
I know, right? Fantastic. Well, we didn't have an answer for Philadelphia, which kind of sucked that year.
So I mean,
but to see, do you think it's going to be brutal? Do you think it's going to be brutal?
I think we're gonna have our. I don't think it's gonna be like it's gonna be physical. I don't think as physical as Philly and Washington. I think it's gonna be a big thing about scoring. Scoring and goaltending are gonna be the top two things that's gonna be in this series. Is who can get the most goals and what goaltender is gonna stop the most.
And as I said before and earlier in the show, I don't want to see Crosby raise that cup. I hate Crosby.
Ovi, it's Ovi's time. Ovi deserves it.
I'll say it being non-biased. I hope Ovi raises that cup above his head, because what? Honestly, if Ovi said, "Hey, I'll raise the cup above my head. I got a ring. I'm done." I wouldn't care, because honestly, you leave with your head held high. You're the champ. He can go on and be an ESPN announcer guy. But, and no one can understand him, even though I've seen interviews where he can barely speak English. But I would love to see Ovi, raise the cup above his head.
I would say. I mean, there's a lot of people on that Caps team that is deserving of a cup. Of course, I'm going to say his name again, Chimera. He has been through Edmonton, Columbus, with Washington, and has... been an amazing veteran role for Washington and its players, and he's been a great Capital player to the fan base. And Hopi has shined, and I think he has really. If we get to that cup, whatnot. I mean, Hopi's got that Conn Smythe. I mean, he's definitely
Yeah,
going to be the one
like I
to
said, the
start.
goalie's trophy. Even though it's not technically a goalie's trophy, it's a goalie's trophy. Goalies are always, a breed apart. They're the ones that are like, oh, that's Conn Smythe is going to his direction. So, but yeah, that's it for episode 2. We will be back with episode 3.